How's it going, everyone? Took here, back again, and to be honest, this is not going to be the easiest video to make because it's honestly a tough pill to swallow at this point. I will save all of the history the Bruins made today and have made so far this season for the end of the video. I just want to get right into this. We'll start with the first period. And honestly, the story to this game was the power play reigning supreme. And right off the bat, the Bruins came out with just good play, strong effort, and they get on the board early. Matt Carl gets a hooking penalty against Ryan Spooner. The power play unit comes out. They look strong. And David Krejci with the slap shot gets the goal. 1-0 Bruins to start off. Later on, Ryan Spooner draws another penalty, this time a holding call on Vlad Nemestikov, and this results in a Louis Eriksson goal, a nice cross crease in front for a very easy tap-in. Eriksson's first goal of the season, 2-0 Bruins, a perfect way to start off this game. Torrey Krug, an assist on both goals. He would actually get an assist on all three Bruins goals. So a nice offensive output from him. We'll get back to him in a bit. But just over 4 minutes, about 4.5 minutes after the Eriksson goal, Brian Boyle gets a goal back. A rush from Tampa Bay, Victor Hedman coming down the side. Somehow Brian Boyle just sneaks in. How a 6'6" guy sneaks in undetected, I don't know. Gets the puck in the slot and an easy chip in over the shoulder of Tuukka Rask, 2-1. And then just over a minute later, I think it was a minute and 9 seconds, Andre Palat gets a pass from Tyler Johnson in front of the net. Tries to throw it on net. It essentially heals it, but it sneaks through the 5-hole of Tuukka Rask, and we have a tie game. And honestly, it looked like the Bruins had a better first period, but the mistakes piled up. Rask let in that bad goal against Palat. He probably should have had it. You had the typical defensive mistakes, defensive breakdowns. It's not difficult to understand why Tampa was able to get back into this game. I will say the two stars of this first period for the Bruins, David Pastrnak looked great with the puck. He had a really strong first period. That wouldn't continue in the second. And I'll say it right now, my first star of the game, he was the star of this period and the star of the game for the Bruins, is David Krejci. He was spectacular on both sides of the puck, specifically offensively. Just a ton of effort. And as I said in the season preview video, this season depends on him. But honestly, even a healthy David Krejci, it's not really looking like he's going to be able to pull the team out of the ditch this season. Second period starts off with Patrice Bergeron getting a goalie interference penalty against Ben Bishop. No concerns there. Bruins actually get a power play a little bit later on as Andre Schuster called for for hooking against David Krejci. Power play never really got going, and at the end of it, David Pastrnak tries to force a pass across the middle. It's intercepted by Brian Boyle. Comes down on a breakaway. Pasternak's on his back, and he just brushes him off like a gnat, like a small child. Steps in, forehand, backhand, beats Rask 5-hole, 3-2 Tampa. They come back to take the lead. Bruins thankfully tie it up later on. David Krejci and Torrey Krug again involved, both of them involved in all three goals for the Bruins. Krejci with another slap shot from the outside. It goes off the post, deflects off of Louis Eriksson, and into the back of the net. Eriksson's second goal of the season. And here's where the game turns. Face off in the offensive zone on a power play for Tampa. Tyler Johnson interferes with Chris Kelly, doesn't give him a chance to get to the puck. It goes uncalled, and eventually Steven Stamkos ends up with the puck. You know what's coming. A slap shot from the circle on the one-timer. Easy goal, his 500th career NHL point. Speaking on Steven Stamkos, the guy is absolutely incredible. You don't need me telling you what a great player Steven Stamkos is, but I did notice, at least in this game, defensively, he has matured as well. He is one of the most complete players in the league. And honestly, that goes without saying. We know how great Steven Stamkos is. But again, another controversial goal results in all momentum being lost for the Bruins. Say what you will about one goal and how that probably shouldn't be the deciding factor, but a lot of times it is, especially for a team whose confidence it's non-existent for this team. But again, this period was highlighted by David Pasternak's terrible turnover. Brian Boyle, just two great goals in this game, and particularly his second goal. He was a monster out there. Eric Condra really grabbed my attention. He played a great two-way game. Of course, you had the Tyler Johnson no call. Ben Bishop I respect Ben Bishop, and I made the same point about PK Subban. The diving has to stop. Everybody knows how much Ben Bishop flops around. And I get it, with this much money on the line, integrity is out the fucking window because it's all about winning and losing. But it's still a shame to see someone as talented as Ben Bishop have to stoop to diving to draw penalties. Does it positively affect the game for his team? Yes, it does, and I get the anything it takes mentality. I just hate diving. I don't care if it's Subban, if it's Ben Bishop. I don't care if it's Brad Marchand. I'm not the type of Bruins fan that's blind enough to believe that the Bruins are saints. Brad Marchand can be a cheap little douchebag whenever he wants to be, and I can't fucking stand it. Anyway, rant aside on diving once again. Couple more notes. Zdeno Chara was back in the game, and that is one thing I forgot to touch up upon for this game, and that would be the lineups. There was one change. Joonas Kemppainen back in after the injury to Brad Marchand with the concussion suffered in last game off of the incidental contact with Dale Weiss. But again, Chara looked okay for his first game of the season. Brett Connolly looked impressive. Unfortunately, that didn't result in anything on the scoreboard. Matt Bolesky also looked okay. He's starting to settle in a little bit. And then everything fell apart. The third period, once again, absolutely no confidence by this team. He had a couple of huge early saves by Rask in this period, but he lets in a horrendous fifth goal for Jonathan Drouin, and that effectively ended the game. And I can't say I blame Rask for not playing with confidence, but that's something any NHL goalie needs to be able to stop. That's anything any AHL or CHL goalie needs to be able to stop. I get sometimes the bad goals sneak in, but that was an absolute backbreaker. Compile that mainly due to the fact that goal happened due to a horrible breakout, and that's just what they suffered from the entire third period. Terrible breakout, lack of forecheck. They essentially just turtled up and let Tampa beat them down for the rest of the game. But of course, Tampa has to pile it on, and hey, at least I have Valtteri Filppula on my fantasy team. He gets his first goal of the season, a wrist shot at the flex. It goes off of his skate and in, and that would be the game. It is 6-3 final. Just looking at certain players, Jimmy Hayes was really quiet again. I said, Conley did all right. Louis Eriksson with his first 2 goals of the season. Chris Kelly had a couple of decent moments. Max Talbot was pretty much invisible. Chara looked okay, although he was a -2. Zach Ronaldo looked somewhat decent. He was only on the ice for about 7.5 minutes. Patrice Bergeron didn't have his best game. Matt Bolesky was a -2, but he's starting to fit in. Joonas Kemppainen essentially invisible. Joe Morrow struggles. David Krejci, player of the game. Torrey Krug offensively did great. 3 assists on the goals, but again, defensively, he wasn't that great. Colin Miller looked good in spurts, which is good. Ryan Spooner didn't do anything offensively. He only had 1 shot attempt, no points or anything. Defensively, he's been progressing, and that's a nice thing to see. Adam McQuaid just kind of there. Kevin Miller just kind of there. And David Pastrnak, again, good offensively in the first period, and in the second period, he just fell apart. And that's what you have to expect. And it sucks to see somebody this talented, and he's going to get railed for this play. But he's young, he's talented. I mean, for Christ's sakes, it's easy to forget that the guy is only 19 years old. But again, this defense is absolutely horrendous. It doesn't help when you have Ben Bishop diving for calls, but I'm not going to blame Ben Bishop for that. The Bruins just simply weren't good enough. And again, Torrey Krug, essentially your top defenseman. Chara's still working back into it, and the fact is he's a power play specialist. That's all it is. Now, excuse me if I get these stats slightly wrong. When I heard them, I was trying to stop myself from banging my head against the goddamn wall. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Bruins' first 0-3 start since the 99-2000 series. However, this is also the Bruins' first start 0-3 with no points. I believe in the 2000 season they had a tie in the first 3 games. But for sure, this is their first 0-3 season, or 0-3 start to a season with no points since the 1965-66 season, the year before Bobby Orr debuted. This team's allowed 16 goals in 3 games. 16 fucking goals in 3 games. If you would like to know how ridiculous that is, the San Jose Sharks, granted they've only played 2 games, have only allowed 1 goal. The Arizona Coyotes, they've only played 2 games, they've only let up 2 fucking goals. And I highly doubt Arizona's giving up 14 goals in their next game to even that out. And hell, why not another fun stat? This is Tampa's first win at TD Garden since March 25th of 2010. The bottom line is when Tuukka Rask only has 17 saves and lets up 6 goals, that's not good enough. The bottom line is the defense is not good enough. The bottom line is when you trade Dougie Hamilton and don't get anything in return, you're doomed to fail. Honestly, at this point, bring in free agents. I don't give a damn. You have $2 million in cap space and 2 roster spots. Fucking sign somebody. Lubomir Vishnowsky, Mazzaros, Eric Brewer, Brian Allen, Jan Hayda, I don't care. Just somebody that can prevent us from giving up 16 goals in 3 games. And a lot of people who might see this video that aren't Bruins fans are going to, say, oh, boo-hoo, whatever. Congratulations, this is what happens. And it's the thing, I know this is what happens, particularly to a team in 2013 that has bad management decisions, overspends, signs veterans to way too long contracts, and all that shit. I get it. Doesn't mean it's not still painful. Bruins' next 2 games coming up Wednesday night in Colorado. They hit the road for the first time. And on Saturday, they play the Arizona Coyotes. And for the first time ever, I can't say for sure that between a 2-game road stretch against Colorado and Arizona, that the Bruins are going to win either game. I truly don't know. Colorado's doing alright so far. Yeah, they had a pretty bad collapse against Minnesota the other night. And Arizona's off to a pretty damn good start, to be honest. I want to be optimistic, but truly, I just can't be. This is the worst I have seen the Bruins play in over a decade. It has been absolutely horrendous, and there are almost no signs of it getting better. The inconsistencies are just so strong and so present. I don't see it going away, and I fear for Claude Julien. I fear for this team, especially when Joe Haggerty from CSNNE is reporting that the Bruins have sent out feelers about how teams would feel about maybe making a deal for Zdeno Chara and Brad Marchand. This is only going to get worse. This team, while it looked like a retooling, this is going to be a rebuild. If they don't turn this around quick, Claude Julien will be out by Christmas at this rate, if not sooner. It's just a mess, and I'm really not looking forward to seeing where this leads. But that is it for now, guys. I thank you all so much for watching and listening to my depressed rants regarding this horrendous Boston Bruins team. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the Bruins thus far? What do you think? How is this season going to go? If the Bruins aren't your team, what is your favorite team? Who do you root for, and how are they doing thus far? It's almost impossible to not be optimistic in comparison to what Bruins fans should be right now. It's almost impossible. As always, leave a like down below if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. It is a big help. Sharing this video and helping me get my name out there would also be a gigantic help, and I could not thank you enough. But no more pandering from me. I will catch you guys next time.